Here's how to structure your rugby conditioning all year round so that you peak when it matters most. In the off season, this is your base building phase when you have a lot more time and available energy. Use it. Continuous training. Build your aerobic foundation with steady zone 2 style sessions. These are going to build capacity and also build tolerance to load. Plus, they will contribute to fat burning and body composition goals if you do them for long enough. Circuit or potentially CrossFit style training. These are popular and some players like to do it. They're going to build your muscular endurance alongside aerobic capacity as well. These are typically quite fatiguing. So when you don't have games in the off season, just go for it. Alternate sports. They keep it fun. They keep it engaging. Grappling, touch rugby, sevens. These are going to all have transferable rugby skills to your game. Plus they will build your engine for that season ahead. Just remember that no competitive rugby pressure means that more freedom is available to try different conditioning methods and to steadily build up your volume gradually towards that pre-season phase. Focus on simply just getting aerobically fit. It's the foundation that everything else is built on for your rugby. Gonna chime in and interrupt myself here. If you can't be asked to keep watching this video and figure out how to organize your conditioning training or any other training for that matter all season long, I will do it for you in the Ben Bealey Performance Program so that you can just focus on playing the game. Join for free and get high-level rugby coaching specifically for your goals. The link's below. Pre-season. Now it is time to get more specific. Now it's time to increase the intensity. Start increasing or integrating more high-intensity interval work. Get closer to the intensity that you're going to experience of a game and push yourself up towards the red zone. Adding more rugby-specific conditioning here. Small-sided games, maybe more contact scenarios, high-intensity drills. This is your most specific conditioning method. Off-feet options, they work well here too when the on-feet and the rugby load starts to really build up. Training load is probably going to spike pretty hard in pre-season, and that's especially at amateur level where the breaks are a lot longer and the pre-seasons are a lot shorter and more packed in. So using off-feet methods to add conditioning without a lot more running load, especially if you're a player that feels a lot more sore or you struggle a bit more in the lower body, that's a great idea. This is also when to test yourself. Timing your runs, fitness benchmarking, conditioning tests. The absolute standard is the Bronco test. It's a really great test for rugby players to measure your aerobic capacity and to benchmark yourself. Plus, you can use the results to prescribe your training. Push the volume and intensity here. Pre-season is where you make the fitness gains that you're going to use all season long. In season, this is maintenance mode. You need to protect the engine that you've built. Lower the volume, but make sure it's very specific. Your games and your team training are your primary conditioning stimulus. Top-up sessions are a really good thing to use if you want to maintain your engine. 10 to 15 minutes post-session or maybe even post-game if you've come off the bench and you're still feeling fairly fresh. This is going to be very injury dependent. If you're carrying something, then use off-feet options so that you can maintain your fitness without loading up that injury anymore. A simple in-season rule to continually improve while staying ready and staying energized for games. If you've had a big game and a big training week, just dial it back. If you've had a rest week, for example, add a game replacement or a top-up session or two. If you're a player that is coming off the bench, especially, you might not get 80 minutes of game conditioning every single week. So you need to manage this really actively by topping up with more conditioning. Always remember that consistency beats everything. A bit of conditioning every single week compounds massively over a season. Little and often rule here. Multiple shorter sessions spread across the week is way better than one massive conditioning spike every other week or every month. And quality over quantity. Purposeful conditioning sessions are going to be going through the motions every single time. Periodize your conditioning properly and you'll peak when the season comes around and it matters most. Build the capacity in the off season. Sharpen the engine in the preseason and maintain it through the in-season. These mistakes could be killing your rugby conditioning games. Only doing conditioning in the preseason and then wondering why you get injured or you gas out after a few weeks of the season. If your rugby training is the standard 2 per week for 90 minutes or potentially less, you'll likely need more work to get fitter each week. So build it all year round. Going for a run is not conditioning for rugby. Doing your weekly 5-kilometer run all year round isn't helping you get better at rugby, or running for that matter, to be honest. You can use continuous runs as top-ups if needed, but you need to progress training and try to hit the demands of rugby more. Mixing in higher intensity intervals and actually recovering from the heavy rugby demands is a much better idea, especially in the season. Ignoring on-feet conditioning. Doing all of your conditioning on a bike and then wondering why your running fitness just isn't there or isn't growing. The specificity principle is really, really real. To get better at rugby and to get fitter at rugby, you need to be on your feet. No structure or progression. Random conditioning sessions with absolutely no plan. The odd coat hanger or bronco or broken bronco chucked in here or there. To be honest, it's a waste of time. Add more distance, more reps, longer durations, or more speed to those reps, week on week on week. Otherwise, you're just adding load to the body and maintaining. You're never going to improve. Conditioning when you should be recovering. Smashing intervals the day before a game or maybe straight after a brutal training week. Conditioning is a training stress, and it needs to be managed alongside everything else in your week. Don't blast yourself every single day on game week and head into it feeling really, really crap. Especially at amateur level, you need to avoid carrying the fatigue of rugby training onto game day. So avoid these mistakes and your conditioning will keep improving. If you keep making them, you're going to be spinning your wheels all season long. Rugby players can do as much extra conditioning as they want, but it is all in the shadow of this rule. You can do every single conditioning method under the sun, but the most specific way to train your rugby conditioning is to train and play rugby. Get to team training, get game time, sprint in those game-like scenarios with a ball in hand and with decisions to make at the same time. There is no substitute for the game itself. If your team training isn't happening enough every single week, or it never gets you up into the red zone due to maybe typically lower intensities or lower standards, it's on you to top that up with on and off feet extras throughout the week. But if you are already training and you're already playing consistently, you're already doing the most important conditioning work. Just build on top of that. The gym, circuit training, classes, all that stuff, it all supports your conditioning, but rugby is really where it counts. Conditioning, it's the foundation of your rugby performance. It keeps you involved for 80 minutes. It keeps you injury-free across a whole season, and it supports every other physical quality that you've got. A lot of players out there, they're not training it specifically, or they're not training it consistently enough. Now you know exactly what you need to do. You know the energy systems that you're training. You know the methods that you can use, how to periodize it, and also the mistakes to avoid. If you want all of this structured into a complete rugby performance program with conditioning built in alongside your speed, your strength, and your skill work, join my program completely free for 28 days. The link is in the description.